on digital and online.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Also this morning, what is the most extraordinary thing a friend or colleague has done for you? Postman Chalky Tchaikovsky donated a kidney to his friend Ian.
To me, it's always the small things that make a difference in life. I was just in the right place, really, and Ian's such a good chap.
My life was getting narrower and narrower, my opportunities, and all of a sudden, 4 weeks down the line, I'm feeling great, and suddenly I can do everything that I could do before.
Good morning, welcome to the programme. A postman from Weston-super-Mare has donated a kidney to a colleague who was put on the transplant list last year after he collapsed at work. Charles Tchaikovsky, known as Chalky, offered to donate his kidney to workmate Ian Shilcott after Ian was left with just 14% kidney function due to polycystic kidney disease. Ian's family members hadn't proved the suitable donors. That's when fellow postman Chalky stepped in and they had their operations 4 weeks ago today. Gentlemen, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. I can't wait to talk to you both. I also want to ask our listeners of times when a friend or a colleague has done something extraordinary. If that has happened to you or you've done the extraordinary thing, do let us know. 0500 909 693. Ian, tell us a little bit about the condition that you had, first of all.
Oh, yeah. The kidney's called, it's polycystic kidney disease. Basically, enzymes build up in your kidneys, produce cysts, and basically they compact your kidneys, so your kidney function fails. There's no real cure for it apart from dialysis and transplant. It's hereditary, and my mother had a kidney transplant about 11 years ago, and I was diagnosed 16 years ago when I left the army.
So you knew at some point a transplant would be needed?
Yeah, I mean, since I've been diagnosed, I've always been going up to Southmead in Bristol to the renal unit, and I've always thought, well, I knew that my family, family members had been tested and they weren't suitable for transplant, and so I've always planned to go straight and have dialysis maybe for a few years, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, I'd get a kidney from a deceased donor. So I mean, the last 16 years, my life has just been waiting, really. I'm quite an active chap, do a lot of running, and only in the last year, really, that I've got down to the levels where it was affecting my life. I'd stopped running 6 months ago. I collapsed last year at work, probably due to excess running and working and poor renal function. And then after Christmas, got through the Christmas rush. Obviously, the Royal Mail is the busiest time.
Yeah.
And Royal Mail really looked after me, and they've always looked after me and put me down to half days. So, and then it must have been, about 10 months ago, probably the most emotional morning I've ever been at work when Chalky offered me a kidney. So, so he surprised me, that's for sure.
Chalky, tell us about that conversation.
I mean, the day before, several years before, I've known several people who've been on dialysis, and you get to chat to them, and somebody mentioned something the day before, because I only thought that you could, get an organ donation from a deceased person, and they mentioned that they do live donors, and I'd never heard of it before, because whenever you hear about the organ donation, it's always put your name on in case something bad happens. And then they were mentioning the live donors, so I mentioned it to Ian, because I thought he'd know more about it, and I said, we should possibly put my name forward, go for tests to see if I can give you a kidney. Cause
I think this is the thing with kidney donation or any donation. There's so many different ways to donate now, especially with kidneys. Obviously, my knowledge is all with kidneys, and a lot of people think you can only donate when you when you passed on. You can give a deceased donation, but family members. It's all to do with matching your kidney type, and so family members were the main group really for live donors. But I think Chalky probably realised from some of his customers on his round that nowadays the anti-rejection drugs are so good. Really, friends can donate to friends. You know, if there's a match. I mean, the tests are really, really rigid. I mean, really, it's like winning the lottery, really, for me for Chalky to match my kidney. And a lot of people just don't realise that, you know, if you've got friends that have got renal disease, you know, you can go forward. You can go forward and offer yourself up to give a kidney. It's not right for everybody, but you know, the tests are simply, the first test is just blood tests. You know, and you can get all the information about I mean, it's a major surgery, so I mean there are risks to it, but the outcomes are unbelievable. And my life was getting so, as Chalky will say, you know, my life was getting narrower and narrower, my opportunities, and all of a sudden, you know, 4 weeks down the line, I'm feeling great, and suddenly I can do everything that I could do before, and sort of.
And some.
And it's made no difference to me. I can still do loads of stuff.
Can you?
Yeah. It's absolute. You know, I don't sort of feel any different, really.
Why did you offer Chalky?
Basically, yeah. No, I'm not a nice guy.
You must be a bit nice.
It's because my mum's always brought me up to be good, and my mum always used to do it. To me, it's always the small things that make a difference in life. And, you know, I mean, Mum did the same thing. She'd sort of do something, and it'd make such a big difference to somebody else. And I was just in the right place, really. That's and Ian's such a good chap. You know, he's fantastic. He really is. But you can also give a kidney to someone you don't know. I think it's Ian. What is it?
Altruistic kidney donation. Yeah. So you can basically we've met guys and ladies that have actually just walked into the hospital and said, you know, I've heard that I can give a kidney and I can survive quite happily on one kidney, and I'll give it to anybody. And you know, to give to a friend is one thing. To give to somebody that you don't actually know and you'll probably never ever meet,
that's major.
Something else. Yeah. But the thing is that a lot of people. You know, then you think, they're going to take one of my kidneys out, and so I'm only going to have one kidney. But so many people, one of the tests is actually to see if you've got two kidneys, because so many people don't even realise they've only got one kidney. So, I mean, I don't know how did you feel on the day, Chalky, when you were going to get your operation? Because, I mean, I was all right, because, you know, for me, it was a godsend. So for 16 years, you know, planning to go on dialysis, which is just horrendous, you know. I mean, I know it keeps you going, but it's a horrendous thing. And we saw in the ward, in T ward, the chaps and the lasses that were on dialysis. But so I was quite calm about it. But how did you feel when you went for the operation?
I felt superb. We stayed up quite late the night before chatting, and in the corridor there, and then the next morning I apart from not having any breakfast or, you know, a cup of tea in the morning, I just felt I felt like I was doing something good. The only concern I had is if I was going to let you down, and, you know, they couldn't get the kidney out or something. That was my major thing.
Yeah.
But no, I wasn't nervous. I had every faith in Southmead. You know, the team there, they're all fantastic, and the care was superb. It really was.
You know, the information, because I knew quite a bit about it, and I knew what to expect, really. And how have you felt since you've had your operation, you know, in these last 4 weeks, compared with the information that Southmead gave you? So did it tally with what they said you were going to suffer like? Oh
yeah, they did. They said you'd be slightly tired afterwards, but you'd get used to that, because it's like every operation, you are tired afterwards. And then you slowly get better as your body recovers. They said you can't do too much. You just build yourself up. You go for a small walk, and then you go a little bit further the next time. It's just not overdoing things and not lifting heavy stuff, because you can feel it when you lift something heavy.
I thought it was quite. The thing I found was that we were sort of almost opposites, because I was quite poorly and tired going into the operation, and of course my renal function was 14, after the operation, the day after the operation, I had increased. So I was buzzing the day after because I'd gone up to 63, I think. And you, of course, had been 97, and you dropped down to...
I dropped to 47, yeah.
47. But, of course, as you know, within the next 3 months, your kidney will take on some of the function of your
kidney
missing
that's missing.
kidney. Yeah. So I expect in the end we'll probably be slightly higher than I will. But then you think that most people, I think a lot of people average about 60% anyway.
That's it, yeah.
So I think we're going to be about right, I think. But,
well, it just gives you that little bit extra for your future life. That's the thing.
Yeah.
How good friends were you before this?
I couldn't stand him. Oh, good grief, he's getting right on my nerves. He phones me every day, he texts me every day. It's like... I just... I mean, we've known each other since Chalky. I've been at the Royal Mail I've done 2 stints at the Royal Mail, so I've done about 12 years, and Chalky's 8, I think. Yeah.
But so we were friendly at the Royal Mail, and we're workmates and whatever. And but then, of course, we've got allotments as well, and it just so happened that Chalky's allotment is just a little bit further on from mine. So we've been friends through the allotments and a bit of socialising and stuff. But of course, now in the last 10 months, we've become really, really close friends, and he's a special guy. Yeah.
Chalky,
oh yeah, I'm special.
Chalky, what did your family think?
It's like everything. If somebody in your family mentions that you're going to do something, the first thing is like, are you going to be all right? Why are you doing it? That sort of thing. But then when you explain that, you've got every faith in the surgical team and the transplant coordinators and everything, all the process, and then they just think it's superb. They really do. They're it's like because of the news and things and the papers, all the families just been sending so many messages. They just
I think both our families were sort of put at ease, really, because of the amount of information that we were given.
Yeah. And
nothing was sort of hidden away. The negatives, the possible negative side.
Yeah, they do tell you everything.
Yeah. So I mean, my obviously my family is thrilled. I mean, my mother, who's because it's passed down through the family sort of thing. I've got 2 brothers and 1 sister, and I was the lucky one to get it. So, of course, my mum's always stupidly felt guilty because I passed it on to you, Ian, so, but she was absolutely thrilled, when Chalky came forward and when it's all gone so well. And it has gone brilliantly well so far. So.
It has, yeah.
Touch wood. Yeah. I'll be back running in a couple of weeks, hopefully.
Can I read some messages for you both from our listeners?
Yeah.
Sarah simply says, what lovely men. Another listener says, this is a fantastic story. It also happened in my household. My son's wife was donated a live kidney by her uncle. All still going really well. John says, if more people were like Chalky, what a great world we would live in. Paul in Exeter says, Chalky is a diamond. And Steve, somewhere on the A46, says, isn't Chalky a wonderful man? I am humbled.
No, Ian's better because he said, yeah, we'll go for the tests.
Well, I think the thing is that a lot of people out there that probably don't, that actually know people that have got renal disease, and they just don't realise that, because I'm not related, a lot of people think because I'm not related I can't donate. But, what I would say to people is, speak to whoever it is that's got renal disease, and see what they think, and the renal units will bend over backwards to give you as much information, and there's no pressure at all. And what I would say, what I really, because I was more nervous on the day about Chalky because I prepared for dialysis, and I was prepared to be going into hospital 3 times a week and all this sort of thing. But the last thing I wanted was anything to happen to Chalky. So it all went fine. But there are risks, and I was quite concerned, really, that something would happen to you, mate, to be honest.
No, I had every faith in the team. I wasn't worried at all. Seriously.
Did you ever find out what the odds were on two good friends who worked alongside each other and saw each other regularly down the allotments being the same match?
The thing is, it's quite a complex thing, and there's lots and lots of tests to do. There's also psychological tests, which I'm very surprised that Chalky passed.
So am I.
But
The old ones are the best.
But the thing is, you've got to match the tissue type, and is one of the main things. And basically, it's 6 proteins, 3 from your mother, 3 from your father, and they've all got one letter and a number. And basically, everybody's got different makeup. So the chances are that your family will have the same. Your brothers or sisters will probably have very similar or even perfect matches. And what will happen is that these, as they test, it's like with me and Chalky, the best match would have been 6 out of 6. But with ours was 1 out of 6.
Right.
Which basically means that because the anti-rejection drugs are so good nowadays, previously they wouldn't have taken it forward. But because the anti-rejection drugs are so good, they can go forward with it. But with all these things, there's always a sort of a little downside. And the downside is that if my body rejects Chalky's kidney, which it shouldn't do, because I have faith it won't do. But anyway, the 5 numbers that don't match me, my body will build up antibodies against those numbers, which will then mean that if I go for a second kidney transplant, so if I'm put back on the list and I'm waiting for another kidney, I won't be able to use a kidney with any of those 5 numbers.
I understand.
So it's going to restrict me getting a second kidney.
Yes.
But fingers crossed, this is going to last for over 20 odd years.
Well, this is the thing, because developments in transplant have progressed. When we say, well, how long will this kidney last? And they said to us, well, we don't know, because until it fails, we won't know how long it's going to last. Some people have lasted sort of 15, 20 years. So hopefully it will last. But so there are downsides. It is a risk, and they're just straight up. I mean, I've got to admit, Mr. Caddy and his team in Southmead have been straight as a die, and they said to me that we will do it, but you've got to realise that if it fails, it's going to restrict your chances. But quite an active guy, I like my running, and I want to get back into my running again. And as Chalky knows, and my allotment's shocking because I haven't been able to do it, and Chalky's are so much better than mine. So
that's only because of my OCD.
I couldn't risk waiting any longer to get my a kidney, and it's such a good idea. I mean, Chalky's a vegetarian, non-smoking, non-drinking, OCD, fair enough, but apart from that, it's perfect. So, it's an opportunity, and I think we were quite surprised, weren't we, Chalky, when they turned round and they said, we'll go for it, and gave us a date. They gave us,
that was the out of all of it, when they offered us a date, that was the dusty day.
yes. We have found that it's been very emotional, haven't we?
Yes.
Yeah. I still get... the one thing I always... because it's been such a roller coaster ride, but the one thing that really makes me emotional is just thinking about that morning when, because I deal with like the special deliveries, so I'm sort of specials out for the posties before they go out, and deal with the customers and that sort of stuff, side of things. So the guys, all the posties come up to me to get their special deliveries in the morning, and when it's 7:30 in the morning, you don't expect somebody to say, "I'll have my special deliveries, Ian, and by the way, I'll give you a kidney." So I still get emotional about that day. So, you surprised me that day, mate, I'll tell you.
Yes. Well, I like to surprise a few people now and again.
Gentlemen, can I thank you so much for coming on the radio? It's been absolutely gorgeous to hear you in conversation together. Thank you. And of course, we wish you all the best, and I hope our listeners don't mind me wishing you all the best on behalf of them as well.
Oh, no.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
And you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Ian Shilcott and Charles Tchaikovsky prefers to be known as Chalky. Here are some messages from you about Chalky and Ian. Chalky donated a kidney to his friend and co-worker, fellow postman Ian. Jan says, Chalky said it was the small things that count, but it sounds pretty huge to me. Well done, Chalky, just fantastic. Ian says I could listen to those two fantastic blokes for the rest of the programme. The world needs more Chalkies. And Janet says, I've been so touched by the piece about Chalky, I filled out my donor form and posted it. Been meaning to do it for ages. This listener says, I've been considering getting myself checked as I would like to donate a kidney to my friend. I'm actually more worried about catching a hospital infection, says that particular listener. Thanks for listening today. Have a good afternoon. Sheila and John are next.
First for breaking news and the best live sport.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.